Rose, how will our children share their memories? Many years ago, when days were long, you have been invited to join me on a very special journey. A trip of a lifetime. A journey of dreams. Your driver awaits. Are you sitting comfortably? But perhaps you've relived the past once before with the town on the Trent. A story which told 2,000 years of the history of Gainsborough. Or maybe I have brought our old town before thee as it was. You've tuned in to Memories of Gainsborough through the ghostly voice of Thomas Miller. Now join me, there's not a moment to lose, on a sentimental journey, a nostalgic trip around old Gainsborough.
I could tell the world how to smile, I could be glad all of the while. I could change the grey clouds to blue if I had you. I could leave the old days behind, leave all my pals, I'd never mind. I could start my life all anew if I had you. I could climb the snow-capped mountains, hail a mighty ocean wide. I could cross the burning desert if I had you by my side. I could be a king, dear, uncrowned, humble or poor, rich or renowned. There's just nothing I couldn't do if I had you.
Our journey starts in the village of Lee. Lee, at the south end of Gainsborough, is a proud winner of a Village of the Year award. Yet history is everywhere. The old water pump is still a centrepiece today. Together with St Helen's Church. However, Lee Hall no longer exists. Lee is a village without a pub, so maybe a stop at the Drover's Call for a shandy is in order. Years ago, the Traveller's Rest was renowned for being Gainsborough's last watering hole. Lee Road has now become one of Gainsborough's busiest roads. Let's take a look back in time to a more tranquil age. No doubt many on our journey will remember days when not many homes had bathrooms. As Lincolnshire's most northern town, the bridge over the River Trent provides Gainsborough's gateway to Nottinghamshire and Yorkshire. The toll bridge gates force traffic passing to and from the town to pay a toll every time. Today, the gates stand as a monument in the town's Witten's Gardens. The toll houses' once extended doorways were part of a unique feature to Old Gainsborough. As you look down the river, you are looking in the same direction as eyes which inspired great writing and novels, such as The Mill on the Floss by George Eliot and Thomas Miller's Our Old Town. The famous stone bridge which spans the River Trent at Gainsborough was built in 1791. The old bridge has had to be altered many times to cope with the demands of the 20th century. In 1964, a massive project was undertaken to widen the structure.
Let's meander down Bridge Street to the market, Christmas Eve. Gas lamps all lit, brightly shining, a mighty Christmas tree needing a heave. A peep into the window of the co-op shop, the overhead till going non-stop. Hand-moulded butter banged into shape, loose tea by the quarter according to taste. Blue bags of sugar, 1 or 2 pound. Biscuits in tins, square or round. A few steps away, Scott's Handy Bazaar. Zebo and blacking, Lifebuoy and starch. In Skips and Bomer's, Heinz Baker's shop. A masterpiece rare was the cake on display. Parish church it may be, or perhaps the old hall, but a beautiful picture admired by all. Surfleets and Chadwicks both sold their meats, Wildbows the furnitures, Steels sold their sweets, Collett and Walker, blue bottles raised high, above potions and pills the customers buy. Pitchforks sold ladies' wear, their best to fulfil, and opposite them the old Witten's Mill, a place full of memories now far behind. In Skips and Shipley's, Barrow and Heinz, Home and Colonial, Maypole, Lipton, Star Supply. These happy memories go on non-stop, with as many pictures as a newsagent's shop.
One of the features of old Gainsborough was the many gas lamps which were dotted in and around the town. You are now invited to join us on a journey by foot, visiting a gas lamp district of old Gainsborough with Les Roberts. Les was one of Gainsborough's last gas lamp-lighters.
Then I used to go past Edwards, as Mrs Edwards used to live down Casket Street. Then the marshes, where they used to work shop. I'd have a look at the river. And of course I had friends who used to work there, and I used to nip up there for a cup of tea. Then you used to come out of there at side of Jackson's, ironmongers, on the right hand side, and then there was marshes. Allbones as it now. Used to come out of there, and then I used to turn then into Chapel Staithe, where the rag and bone man used to be, and it used to be Levi, I think they called him, who was a Jew that used to the outfitters down at the bottom, and there was a gents' toilet at the bottom. Well, I had a lamp there at Chapel Staithe, and I used to make my way back from there into Whitehorse Yard. And I knew the people that lived there, like in Whitehouse Yard there was old Jack West, he was a bit of a character. Jack was drayman for Hewitt's Brewery, the depot down Whitcomb, and Jack could sink a few pints on his rounds, and I knew him pretty well. And then there was, I think it was Mrs. Barraclough that used to live in the roundhouse. It was half round, this house in there. And then there was the wood yard next to it. Then there was a little bit further on, Mrs. Green lived in a rather large house. And I still see her grandson today, and he used to, when he was up and he was about, I used to just put that lad up against the gas lamp. That little old lad used to be halfway up it before I could shift. I used to make my way then into Victoria Street, then through a little alley into Blackburn's buildings. I knew one or two that lived there. Tommy Bradley lived in Victoria. Of course, they've all gone now. Then I used to come back down and I used to go past where Lusher used to have his shop. And a Rolls Royce parked outside there, which would have cost a fortune today, and he used it as a taxi. And he used to sit there in the summer with his Panama hat on and this here deck chair. He used to sell a lot of second-hand stuff. And then, of course, there was Alexander Cottages. That was at side of the Conservative Club, behind the White Houses in Etherington. And then, of course, I used to then make my journey through Albert Terrace, which, of course, is gone, into Britannia Cottages. And, of course, it was quite a few, and you used to go under the archway, 2 archways to go to them. And then I used to make my way then into Exley's buildings. That was somewhere behind the old lockup. Make my way down out of there, down Oxford Street. And of course I knew old Broadbury and them that lived down there, of course. Kosher Broadbury, I suppose you maybe heard of Kosher, eh? The goalkeeper. He used to work in Marshall's. I knew his lad real well, like he used to be he was drum major at Army Cadet Force, Sammy Broadbury. Then I used to make my way down up Hickman Street and finish off up there. And of course there was quite a lot of lamps, you know. And they had to be wound up every 10 days. And then I used to set off again along Bridge Street a bit. And I had one lamp very high up on top of against 7 foot. That was the old wharf, 7 foot. What they used to say was the most dangerous wharf in this town. There was more kids than that drowned from that wharf than anywhere. Because if you fell in there, that was it, you was on your way. Then I used to come back and then make my way down Wembley Street. And I used to come back a bit into Gibbons Square. Now Gibbons Square, it was a square. The houses didn't have no front doors, only back doors. And there was one lamp right in the middle, and they used to have these toilets at the end, where they used to have to share toilets them days, of course, all outside. And I make my way back and up Tar Street. And of course, a lot of that's gone. Of course, Gibbons Square is now, because that's flats. But then I used to then really start on Bridge Street. And I used to go down Andrew's Yard. There was a pump in there. That was more or less behind the Bridge Inn.
Bridge Inn.
That was at top of Willoughby Street. And I used to often have a word with an old lady down there, Mrs. Killerley. I think her daughter's still in Gainsborough. They had a pump. And the lamp was at the side of her house, and she used to play up with me about the lamp being on. It used to keep her awake at night, you know, shining in the bedroom. And then I used to carry on along there, Bridge Street. Of course, it was a lot on it was still cobble then. And then I used to go down Popperwell's Row. Well, that was under a little arch at the side of the clinic, the old clinic. And I used to go down there and see to that. Then I'd come out there and I'd go down behind paddock, as you call it. And there was a lot of pigsties behind paddock. And I knew a bloke that used to keep pigs behind there. There was more like greyhounds than there was pigs like that. Never seemed to get very well fed. And I remember them ones going out and running all over out his styes. Stan Sycamore used to keep his buses down there, back of there. Then of course there was where Obadiah and Walt Smith. One or two more lived in Pleasant Place. Then you'd come out there, then I'd go down Nottingham Place. And there was parts of them houses when I used to go down there that was shored up with timbers. But people still lived in them. Their wash houses, of course, was outside. On to King Street. There was a King Street East then. Don't think that's there anymore. Don't think there's much of King Street. Of course, and there was, then I used to make my way back up Clinton Terrace, Portland, Clinton, Lindham, then to Lindham View. Because all the alleyways had lamps in as well as the fronts. And there was an house there I used to often stop and have a chat to, was an old pal of mine. It was a white house, similar to a farmhouse, at the bottom of Clinton. No, Linden Terrace it was. Dobby Brooks lived there, one of my old schoolmates. Of course then back I used to set off down Waterworks, then onto the Prairie, and Bacon Street, Ruskin Street, Washington Street, but not Sandsfield Lane because that wasn't my district. That belonged to Tommy Mitchell, had that district. But I always seemed to get the last lamp, and it was halfway up Foxby Hill somehow. How that one ever got on my district I'll never know, like, because it was a straight run, like, and that used to get broke regular. How many times that? I mean, especially firework night, because the kids used to love to put fireworks in the lanterns, blow them to pieces. And you used to have to go out then and get them done before they set everything on fire and melted the lanterns, because there was all copper, you know, and soldered, and if they got on fire they used to melt and fall to pieces. Then I used to make my way back down Umlicker, of course, Humble Car Lane, like, but I mean it was Umlicker to most of us. And the gas lamps used to run on side of the drain. I think there was about 5, and the last one ended outside Newsom's canteen, over the little railway crossing as there was then. In the summer, I didn't used to come back and go by the road, I used to go through the Humble Car itself and then up the lane outside the station where Davis and that has their, what you call them now, and then I used to go round into King Street, Lee Road West. Now that was the last gas lamp that way on. See, the gas lamps were only in Gainsborough. There was no gas lamps in Morton, and it finished there. And on Morton there was all this side of Front Street. See, because them days, Gainsborough, of course, and Lee were all separate. You see, it was Gainsborough Urban District Council, well, they weren't going to pay for things in rural areas.
Before the extension of Marshall's engineering works, lots of shops, houses and yards existed on Beaumont Street. These led up to the back of Spring Gardens. Marshall's is just visible as the end building. On the opposite side of Beaumont Street was once Bay's Garage and Britannia Cottages frontage. The White Hart Hotel has always occupied a prominent position for visitors since 1649. The tall Peacock Inn public house was destroyed by bomb damage during the Second World War. Many of the public houses situated in Lord Street have had name changes, some returning to their original, including the Black Bull Inn and the Tiger Inn. Church Street was once a continuous road of varied shops. On the same side as the church is the John Robinson Memorial and the old Labour Exchange, which was once previously a school. The street is named after its main feature, the parish church.
At 11 he went to the shipyard as a rivet boy to earn a bit of money to augment the family income. They were as poor as that. And he became a millionaire and the inventor of the first rapid machine ever invented in the world.